Meredith's just going to go with me everywhere, and I'm just going to let her talk for me. I do have a heart for young people, and I'll tell you where it comes from. My husband and I, we don't have children. We worked incredibly hard in a business. It just wasn't possible for us. And we worked incredibly hard in a business with an idea that we came up with in our home. We grew that business for our first 2 years out of our spare bedroom of our house. And when I tell this story, I don't know that I am colorful enough in explaining exactly what that was like. We had programmers in and out. That room, the only place I could iron in the house was in the hallway in front of that room. We had a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick ranch that we ran an entire business out of. In our second year, we took some angel investment. We signed Delta Airlines as our first client. And from that blessing alone really helped our business grow tremendously over the next 7 years. In 2006, we were blessed to be able to sell that company. And I got very involved in Cobb County philanthropy. And I did that for several reasons. My husband and I looked around and we saw that not only the business and the economic climate had changed, but the political climate had changed as well. So think back to selling a business in 2006, 2007. We all know what happened the following year. Barack Obama was elected president. And we just decided that, the economics just were not the same as they were when we started back in 1997. And for us, we wanted to pour ourselves into our community and pour ourselves into stopping the potential of what a slide into socialism could be for our country. And so we just got very involved. I worked as a volunteer caseworker with Must Ministries. It is our 2-county homeless shelter network in Cobb and Cherokee counties. I worked in the area that helps people on the verge of homelessness. So folks that they may have lost their job, they may have exhausted unemployment. We had a lot of ladies that came in who were victims of domestic violence, and they'd show up with their kids and they had no place else to go. And it was our job to be able to help them find a place to go and to help them get back on their feet again. I absolutely love that work, and Pastor Ike Reichert, who runs that charity, knows that at some point in my life I want to go back to Cubicle 2. I don't know when, but at some point I do. Worked with Must, worked with a variety of cancer charities as well. And that has especially hit very close to home recently when my father was diagnosed with cancer back in February of this year. So we just poured ourselves into it. Many of you all know me because we've done all kinds of things together. We've waved signs in front of congressional offices to stop Obamacare. We've traveled to Ohio to work the phone banks for McCain-Palin to try to get them elected instead of the alternative. But I have a heart for this community, and I think that anybody who knows me and can tell you, not only do I have a heart for this community, I have a heart to see people be successful in this community. Although Mike and I don't have children, we have a lot of surrogate children. Most are between the ages of 8 and 30. And for them, it really comes down to, I want them to be able to run a business out of their spare bedroom. I want for them to be able to have that same opportunity where they can take an idea, they can work their tail ends off, and they can achieve the American dream. And that's why I'm running for Congress. I'm running for Congress because I believe that the federal government has gotten too big and has basically gotten too far into our business, and I want to see it stopped. I'm also running for Congress because I believe that the federal budget has gotten way much larger than we could ever continue to afford. $17 trillion, nearly $18 trillion in debt. We've got to have people that have business experience to get in there, roll up their sleeves, who will be administrators of driving down the overall size of our federal government. Cut spending, but most importantly, create that conservative, common sense environment where job creators can do what they do best, and that is create jobs. I want to talk a little bit about my time with the Governor's Office of Workforce Development, because when you think about a job, what is it? It's a place that you get up and you go to every day. You get in your car. Twice a month you get a paycheck, and it's how you provide for your family. But think about what it really means to your family. Think about that example that it sets for your children. Think about people that they've never seen that example. They've never witnessed it firsthand. That is that sense of success that I want people to be able to experience. See, a job not only allows us to provide back into the tax base, but it also allows that individual to really understand that they can do anything and that they can provide for their families. And that's the direction that I want to see us go in. We have a lot of social services programs across our country, federal and state, and I think that they need to be tied to work. I think that we need greater opportunities for people to be able to not only get that short-term help that they might need, but most importantly, be put on that path to get them back into the workforce. I was very proud to work with the Bartow County school system and the business community up here to help with the Bartow County College and Career Academy. And I hope that all y'all that live here understand what a great place that you guys live in. It really is. It's an amazing place. And it's poised for huge growth. And the growth is coming based upon your geography. It's going to happen. And I think how we manage to that is what is most important. So your College and Career Academy is there to be able to help make sure that your next generation have the skills that are needed to fill the jobs that are becoming available. There wasn't a single solitary time that I sat across the table from a company that was looking at Bartow County as a potential place to move their business or expand their business, that the first thing they didn't ask me was, tell me about that workforce. Tell me about the people there. What type of skills do they have? Am I going to be able to find people to do my job? Am I going to be able to find people that have soft skills to grow and develop inside my company and go into management? That is really one of the greatest things that government of any size, local, state, or federal, can do, to be able to help create the environment, not the job, but create the environment to help that be possible. So Meredith can tell you, and others that know me can tell you, that I have a reputation for working hard. We love our campaign. We have 36 days to go. This is Ashley Williams. She helps me with the campaign. Another former college Republican. And we enjoy it. We enjoy the work. But I can tell you unequivocally that the thing that I enjoy the most is the opportunity to meet people all across this district. People here have huge hearts. And they have a tremendous amount of ability. And I'll tell you what, they've got a whole lot of optimism. We hear a lot on the news, especially those of us that get a steady diet of Fox News, where sometimes we're set to believe that it's all over, just pack it in. America is done. America's not done. See, our nation is so much larger than any one president. The idea of freedom and opportunity is so much greater than any one president or any one Congress. We are hard-pressed on every side, but we are not crushed. As a people, we can do and set our minds to achieve and accomplish anything. This district is the 29th most conservative district in the United States. And I want to see those conservative, hard-working, common-sense values in Washington. So I humbly ask for your vote, May the 20th. I can tell you one thing, that nobody's going to work harder for it. But most of all, I'm running for Congress because I want to serve you, and I want to serve this community. I want to see that optimism return nationally, not just here in the 11th District of Georgia. I can take questions, and I can go ahead and answer a couple of them for you right out of the gate, because I get them everywhere I go. I'm pro-life. I am pro-Second Amendment. We spend a lot of time in Bartow County because my husband is a member at the gun range out here. He's a long-distance rifleman, also shoots 3-gun. He let Ashley and I know that we had a gun in the truck before we left tonight. We're like, we're fine. We're going to Cartersville. It's okay. I am a small government conservative. The thing that I would cut first is I would look at the 61% of the federal budget that's made up of long-term social services programs. I would cut the administration and overhead expenses of those first. Sometimes they range between 30 and 45% of it. I am an administrator at heart, and I can tell you one thing, that I think that it's time that our nation balances our budget, and I think that it's time that we work incredibly hard to make sure that we put more administrators in Congress. 2014 is an important year for Republicans, And I tend to give this message everywhere I go that has absolutely nothing to do with my campaign, but it has more to do with me and my hopes for this district and for this election cycle. 2014 is critical for us to win, not just for the Republican Party, but for conservative values. And I want to make sure that 2014 is a success for us, because it's got to set us up for 2016. Because no matter who our nominees are, as soon as it's over with, we have got to work our tails off all over again and do everything we can to stop the Hillary Clinton presidency. I think it's time that we roll back the parade of Democrat politicians that we've got in front of our faces right now. And I think that we can do incredibly well, not only in 2014, but also in 2016. So with that, I'll take your questions. Yes?
How do you feel about Obamacare and Common Core?
Obamacare. I believe it needs to be repealed. House Republicans have voted over 40 times to repeal it. I think that the challenge that we've had is that we haven't set up an alternative solution to go along with it. I really like Dr. Tom Price's Empowering Patients First Act. I think it's a really good step to setting forth free market, patient and doctor-centered solutions to the problem. I think that first and foremost, I want to be able to buy insurance across state lines. I want to be able to buy insurance products from anywhere available in the country. I also want to see me be able to choose from a menu of mandates and not have mandates dictated to me out of Washington based upon California, New York, or any other state that has larger mandates. I think it's just a really good first step. Common Core, I support standards, but just not these. Anybody that's taken any time to look at Common Core, I can tell you that it's just not right. It's not a right fit.
Do you believe in the Constitution?
I sure do.
Do you believe in the Article 1, Section 8, the limited and enumerated powers of Congress? Because you wouldn't have to worry about Obamacare or Common Core, because those things are not in the enumerated powers.
Correct. I always wish that somebody would ask me what my favorite amendment to the Constitution is.
What is your favorite amendment?
Thank you! Nobody ever asked me that. The first, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to be here. The second, because that protects my right to be here. But most importantly, the 19th, because without which none of us would be here right now. Thank you for the question.
Mm-hmm.
You all will know, and those of you all that don't know me will know, you can ask me anything. I always make a point to share not only my website, PridemoreForCongress.com, I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and all the cool things that Deanna is so good at. But I also freely give out my cell phone number. I'm running to serve, and that means that you all should be able to contact me. Two of the things that congressional offices do the most is they help seniors with Medicare, and they help veterans. And I definitely have a heart for both, but in our state, I can already tell you that veterans and veterans employment, where we are getting to the end of 2016, we'll have between 60 and 65,000 returning veterans coming back. We've got to do everything we can to help them get back into the workforce. So I always encourage people, share my number with a veteran. It's 404-358-2051. Call me anytime.
I have another question.
Sure.
Were you involved in the, did I understand correctly, the Workforce Investment Act at one time?
The Workforce Investment Act was brought over from the Georgia Department of Labor into the agency that I managed, yes.
Okay, because I think is it still working, or is it still in effect?
The Workforce Investment Act is a federal program that's still in effect.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people that have looked into it, and they said that they were no longer funding education for those that lost their jobs.
That's not the case. Anybody in Bartow County that wants information on Workforce Investment Act dollars, they should contact the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. That is who's the grantee for this district. There's 14 counties in this district. They receive about $7.5 million of federal money every year. First right of refusal on that money is a veteran. Second right of refusal on that money is somebody who is on the unemployment rolls. So I can give you the names and numbers of the people to contact here.
Well, the reason why I ask is that I went back to school. I was one of the people that lost their jobs, when the economy went down the toilet. And I reinvented myself. I went back to school and became a certified paralegal. and I've been working for an attorney ever since, for the last 7 years. So it works, and it's a wonderful program. And I didn't know anything about it, and it actually was a friend of mine that told me about it. They never told me at the Department of Labor.
It's a wonderful program that's designed to do just that, to be able to match the skills of people that are unemployed with people that have jobs to fill. Interestingly enough, and not to get too wonky, my pastor accuses me all the time of being too wonky. So if I'm walking out, y'all let me know. But last year, the U.S. House passed a bill called the Skills Act that we're trying to get passed in the Senate. It takes 23 disparate federal workforce programs and moves them into one program. So you've got one set of eligibility requirements, and it allows your caseworkers to have greater access to different tools that they can use. It also cut the labor budget quite a bit as well. But it takes your Workforce Investment Act dollars, it takes your VETS dollars, it takes your Wagner-Kaiser, and it puts it all in one place. I think that if we can get the Senate to pass it, and maybe a new president to sign it, it would be a tremendous tool for us to promote across the community to help people that have been displaced because of unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm glad it worked for you.
It was a godsend. Well, how are people going to go back to school if they lost their job and they don't have the money to do it?
You're absolutely right.
And this is a wonderful program.
You're
And I'm a proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks. I was 62.
You're neither old nor a dog. Yes, hi, Tracy.
Hey, thanks, Tricia. Changing the subject a little bit on transportation.
Mhm.
As you know, we're strategically located along 75 with 7 or 8 exits. And I guess you're familiar with the 411 connector that we've been trying to get for over 25 years. First of all, do you support it? And secondly, do you know where it stands as of this moment, just for our crowd?
I know that there was a proposed solution that Bartow County government had approved and that they believed was favorable to Bartow County. It gave Bartow County the on-ramp and off-ramp exits and access that they were looking for with minimum disruption to property owners. I think that a speedway between Floyd County and 75 does not benefit Bartow County. As your member of Congress, it's my job to represent Bartow County. We don't have Floyd County in the 11th district anymore, so I would want to make sure that if Bartow County wanted access so that you could set up businesses there, then it seems like that's the logical thing to do from my standpoint. So I think right now it's still in discussion.
And just curious, you said we're the 29th conservative district.
According to the Cook report,
Is that out of 4? How many exactly is that out of?
you've got 435.
435. Thank you.
I have a question.
Cool.
Our last meeting, Mr. Loudermilk spoke, and he went through a list of endorsements, and so I'm sure you've got a list, so I'd like to hear them.
Oh, okay. That's a great little lead-in. Thank you, Meredith. I appreciate that. That's a great question. I'm endorsed by Susan B. Anthony List, which is a pro-life group that supports pro-life candidates. They also love pro-life women, of which there are just 19 of them in the House right now. I'm supported by, right now, Women's PAC, which is also a group of pro-women supporters. I'm supported by Maggie's List, which is another pro-conservative women's group. The Cobb County Fraternal Order of Police, how can I forget them?
That's good.
I've worked a lot with law enforcement over the years, and I strongly believe in the roles and responsibility of law enforcement within our communities. There is a movement in politics right now that sort of straddles both sides of the aisle that is anti-law enforcement. And as somebody who has been personally protected, as many people in this room have been by law enforcement, I believe in what they do, and I believe that they should be empowered to make good decisions.
Great, thank you. I was just curious. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I'm not good at like rattling off my endorsements. I can say like my mom, my dad, my husband. They're the people that I work with every day. Ashley, but thank you. So, well, I so appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you all this evening. Again, if you ever have any questions, if I can ever do anything to serve you, please don't hesitate to ask.